Good morning, y'all. Welcome to the first installment of many videos, hopefully. Welcome to my channel. As you can see by the name IROC-Z, I'll tell you a little bit about it. Obviously, if you can't see in the background, there's a couple of IROCs behind me. There's also one right there. I happen to grow up with these cars. The IROC was in its third year of production when I turned 16. That tells you how old I am. I guess you're not supposed to reveal your age, but you know, what the hell. Anyway, a very good friend of mine, that was his first, well, it wasn't his first car. I think he had a Malibu or something like that for his first car. But anyway, he and I started working together at our first job, and he had an 82 Z28, and later on down the road he bought an 87 IROC, and it was goldenrod yellow, I think is what the technical name was for it. T-top, black interior, had a killer sound system in it. It was a 5-liter tune port automatic. Like I said, goldenrod yellow, black wheels. It did have the stripe kit on it and all that other good jazz. It was a sharp car, and from that day I just really liked the cars. Now, as I got older, I ended up liking the Trans Ams. I've had lots of Trans Ams. Well, not lots, but I've had quite a few of them. The oldest one I had was in 77. Newest one I had was a 91 Formula. I had a lot of fun with those cars. The 91 Formula was by far, of the third gen, was the nicest of the ones that I've had. I did have an 89 GTA for a while. It was a tune port, it was originally a 5-liter tune port 5-speed, but somebody had blown that one up, so I put a 350 in it and left the 5-speed in it, and that was a fun car to drive. Anyway, let's get to what we're cooking here. All right, that one there is the one that I like the most. Well, I say that. Don't pay attention to the wheels, because when I bought this car, it had no wheels on it whatsoever. So I scrounged around and found some spares that I had. The backs there are actually off of another one I'm going to show you here in a minute. But I had to have some way to roll it home. Now, it is sitting high in the front end because it has no drivetrain. I want to show you this one. I'm kind of tickled about it. Well, here, let's do a walk around. The body's pretty straight on it. It's got a few small dents, you know, things that you'd expect for, you know, a car that's 31 years old. But this car on the underside has almost no rust on it. Well, you could see a little bit in that fender well there, but the most part, most of these things are usually rusted out pretty bad. This one came from Georgia, and it's got a whole ton of Georgia clay on it, which it's not necessarily a bad thing. The body on it, like I said, is real straight. It's got a little bitty rust bubble on the top of it. This A-pillar on these were notorious for rusting out, and this one's actually solid. You know, I say that, but you see right down there at the bottom, that's where they start to rust. If you can catch it quick enough, you can save it, which I will be. I'll have to take the windshield out, but it's got a dent right there in that fender. Right there. That'll come out. I think I seen another one on this fender, but not too terribly worried about it. I don't know why this is doing this here. The fascia's in pretty good shape for being a rubber fascia. It's got its normal spider webs, you know, where they crease and stuff like that, or where the paint will flex and it'll come off. It's got a dent right in there in the hood. That one may be a little tougher to get out, but it may come out. It's got the typical worn out hood shocks, imagine that. But as you can see, this whole thing is covered with that clay mud. And it's filthy. I mean, like I said, it needs a good bath, but it's by far a definitely workable piece. Now, this thing was originally a tune port automatic, 5 liter, and somebody had converted it to a carbureted engine, and they did a whole bunch of hack and butch on the wire, so you can see that mess down there at the bottom. I don't know how much of the wiring's still intact, how much of it still works, whether or not the ECU works on it. That's something I'll have to, when I get started on it, I'll have to dig into it. But what really thrilled me about this thing was how decent the interior was. Here's that little rust bubble I was telling you about. And there's a little rust bubble right there. But all in all, it's not bad. But the doors don't even sag on this thing. You know, the fabric's coming off the door panel. I've got a small crack there. But this is the only rip in the seat right here. I mean, they're dirty. Now, you know, what do you expect, miracles? But the passenger one's all right. The headliner, oh, lost my glasses. The headliner is actually not sagging, which is absolutely freaking amazing. The sunshades aren't too bad a shape. This is the only crack on the dash, is right here on the corner. The rest of the dash is good, which that's another thing that's amazing. As you can see, it looks like it reads 103,000 on the clock, so it's not too old. Like I said, I don't know if any of the gauges work. I don't know if anything works electrical wise. The thing didn't come with any keys, and it's missing some trim in the back, but I got a remedy for that. Back seat's in decent shape. Like I said, it's just dirty more than anything. And luckily, this thing has an RPO label still in the glove box, or the console. And typical of the 87s, it does have a GU2. If you look at the option label, GU2 is a 273 and G80, so it does have a locking differential in it. The LB9 is the 5 liter tune port, and the MD8 is automatic. K68's 105 amp alternator. I don't know if it has, I bet you it has, I mean, it has electric door locks. I don't know if it has keyless remote. Some of them did. But like I said, I mean, I just couldn't believe how decent shape this thing is. You know, I didn't give a whole lot for this car either. But, you know, the door doesn't sag, it shuts. The passenger side's even better. There's an unopened beer can from the guy that I got it from. I'm sure it's a little skunky, especially because it's bush. But you can see all the remnants of the clay dust. I'll probably get the pressure washer to it and really give it a good bath before I get started on it. But I particularly wanted a hardtop car. Now, you guys will say, oh, T-tops the rule. Yeah, maybe. T-tops have a tendency to leak. Plus the structural rigidity of a hardtop car is much better, even though it's going to get subframe connectors. All right, on to the next deal. That's that one. Now, remember that good friend I told you about? Well, he actually gave me a Camaro, which that means a ton to me. It means more than you think. Now, you'll look at it and you say, well, that thing's a piece of shit. Well, yeah, but I'm going to tell you, everything on it is fixable. I mean, it's just cosmetic more than anything. And here it is. This is also an 87 IROC. This one was a 5-liter carbureted automatic car, which that was like I think the only one below that would have been a 5-liter carbureted 5-speed car. That's like the base. This one, again, the frame rail is in good shape structurally, which that's more important than anything. It's got to have a good structure. This one does have a good structure. It's just got surface rust on it more than anything. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with this one just yet. I'm thinking that I'm going to fix it for him. It's missing a few pieces. I do have the front fascia. But this fender looks like it's been replaced. I am going to take these wheels and I'm going to put them on the other 87. But as you can see on this one, the dash has seen its better days. It's toast. But and it's got some patina, just surface rust on the top of the roof. I'll probably try to get after that this weekend, at least, or this season. Try to get it primed and sealed. And you've had some live-in guests in this one. It's evidence of little rodents. And this one's a lot rougher shape than the other one, but you know, it sat out in the field for the longest time. But you know, the top of this door panel's in decent shape. I mean, that's just, like I said, that's just fabric. You recover that and it'd be just fine. This one has 144,000 on the clock. And again, it's an automatic. And this one also has an RPO label on it. We'll zoom in a little bit here for you. All right, this one has a GU2, which is also 273, but if you notice, it doesn't have the G80 behind it, which means it's an open differential. It's a one-wheel peel, and an LG4, which is a carbureted 5-liter, and an MD8, which is a 700 R4. The other thing at the bottom, the 8774, that is bright red. Like I said, everything's red on this one. The headliner's gone on this one. But again, this was a gift from my very good friend. I'd like to do something with it. Not sure what just yet. And I don't have keys for it either. So I've got to do some things on keys. That door shut's decent. Can't remember if yeah, that one's still shut. All right, well, here's the last one. This is my donor car. This is the one that I'm going to use for parts. And this one is gone, so to speak. Even if you were to do something with it, it's not worth putting back on the road. It's very rusty, but I didn't want it for the rust. And this has been repainted. This one here has that torch red paint on it. It had a body kit on it, as you can see on this door. It still has part of it on it. The doors don't even shut, they're so bad. But it does have the Australian 9-bolt, so it's got the Australian 9-bolt disc brake. Got the standard brakes on the front. You know, you can't get lucky enough to find one of these that's a 1LE, and if you do, it's amazing. When I got it, somebody had bent the tie rods, and I had to straighten those out so I could at least get it back here. The wheels that are on that car came off of this car. Let me know what you think about this hood. Do you think I ought to keep it, or what I ought to do with it, or should I put it on the other 87? It is a fiberglass. It's got some damage right here. I think that can be fixed. I think I can glass that in, but it looks like it's had a, you know, like whenever they hit whatever they hit on this side here, that's when it got damaged. But the rest of the hood's indecent. But the reason why I got this one is for this. And you say, yeah, big deal, it's a tune port, it's a piece of crap, they don't ever run. Yes, they do. They do run. You can get some decent performance out of it. Now, granted, this is the reason why I wanted this is this is an 89. Like I said, it has the serpentine belt system on it. It is an old style small block. It does turn over, however, I don't know if it runs, but the antifreeze in it's good. It's got good looking oil in it. The transmission fluid looks good. They obviously, the guy that had it before me was having electrical problems with it because the whole underside of the dash is tore up. But that engine's going to go in that car. I'm going to take it apart, and through some of my series, I'm going to walk you through some of the repairs, and I'm going to do some modifications to it. The channel, I don't really have anybody to, I don't have any kids, and so I don't have anybody to pass my knowledge to, so I'd like to pass on what I've learned over the years. In the same instance, I'd like to do you some in-depth how-tos on, you know, the transmission, engine, some tips and tricks. I can tell you on this engine here, I'm not reusing the factory heads that are on it. That was part of the reason why they don't run. I'll modify the tune port a little bit, but it doesn't need much. The reason why I want it is the torque, and then you can always do something with it later. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, why don't you just put an LS in it? Well, you know what? LS is kind of like buttholes anymore. Everybody's doing it, and you know, yeah, I get it. You get power out of it and stuff like that. That's all fine and dandy, but I like to be different. I like to do things different. That's just how I am. But one of the reasons why I don't want to put this back on the road, if you look right there, that's what's left of the frame rail on this right side. I mean, it's absolutely rusted out. It's not worth replacing or putting back on the road. So I'm going to take the drivetrain out of this. Oh, here's a good example of that A-pillar. Look here. See how bad this is bubbling up right here? This is common on these cars, and it'll go all the way down in the fender and rust out where it mounts there. And then that whole thing, see, it's all the way up here. It'll rust out that whole structure. If you look right here in the center, look at how bad this is right here. Like I said, this car is not worthy of putting back on the road. It does have, and this door handle's broke, so this door doesn't open. It does have some decent interior. The bad thing is the RPO sticker is missing. Somebody has taken it out of the console. So I don't know what ratio this rear end is. You know, they had some options. The only way you could get a 345 if it was a 1LE option on a 5-liter 5-speed car. Otherwise, it could have either been a 327 or a 277 on the Borg Warner. 9 times out of 10, it will be a 277. I'm hoping it's not that. I'm hoping it is a 327. But the only way I'm going to know that for sure is I'm going to have to take the back cover off. And I will do that when I get it out. If it is a 327, then or if it is a 277, then I'll have a decision to make whether I want to use the GM 10 bolt or if I want to use the Borg Warner 9 bolt. The 9 bolt is supposed to be stronger, but I don't want a 270 gear. A very good gear for these cars, for a street car, is a 340, somewhere around a 340 to 350 ratio. That's a perfect gear ratio. It's kind of a combination of best of both worlds. With a 2-port, you don't need any more gear than that because they make such massive amounts of torque. Now, if I decide to do something different with the engine and I make a stroker out of it, that could be another story too. But I still probably would keep try to be a 340 gear. Anyway, I got these three projects that I'm dealing with, and I've got some other stuff that I'll go over with you too. I've named her Scarlet. Imagine that. Maybe it's because of the color? Nah, not surely. But anyway, I want to be able to show you some mechanical knowledge. And I'll actually, you know, there's lots of guys out there that do this, and I never realized that, but there might be something that I tell you that you didn't know, and it would just make me just thrilled if somebody was able to pick up some piece of knowledge from me and be able to use it. That's my goal. And the goal is to have fun while I'm doing it. So I'll be doing some in-depth. I've got a Tremec T5 in there that I'll go through with you. I've got some 700 R4s. I've got a couple of 4L80Es that I'm going to go through. And then I've got Bertha, which is my tow rig. She needs some work too. But mainly it's going to be about Camaros and having fun and doing how-tos. And I'm excited to get started. I'm excited to have you along. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. And comment below. If there's something you in particular want to see, let me know. I welcome any kind of comment. It doesn't matter. But that being said, y'all have a wonderful day. Have a blessed day. And we'll holler at you soon. See you, bye.